I know you had a pretty good day as well. Some great action yesterday.
Had a bizarre evening as well.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Especially when I got back to the hotel, thought, right, I'll have a nice quiet evening. Gets back and they've got a massive Christmas party going on. I think one of the major supermarket chains, which was quite a bizarre evening. So the fancy dress and all sorts of. I was talking to a woman, she was dressed as a frisbee. She got very drunk and then threw herself at me, but then that's another story. Maybe too early for that.
It's 11:40 a.m.
I know, but yeah, it was a bizarre evening. So
this is the Lord's Day, Tony. Goodness me.
Ain't no party like an S Club party, apparently, because Reach Up to the Stars was blaring away. Anyway, glad to be back here at the pool anyway.
Yeah, it sounds a lot more sensible than whatever you got up to yesterday evening. Anyway, Jon McAllister in action. This is a battle between two players who've come through the loser's side of this competition. The only two from the loser's side still standing. Everyone else is essentially used or not had to use their life in this tournament. It was double elimination to get to the last 16. Both Christophe and Jon, who came through the loser's side, are the only two still swinging of the 8 that qualified into the last 16.
Yeah, yesterday we were sort of monitoring the games as they went along in the outer arena, and Jon McAllister, we kept saying, myself and Simon, he's quietly going about his business, getting through the rounds, and you forget. I mean, because he got beat this first match, didn't he, quite early, and then you sort of
he won round. Yeah, he lost to Clayton Castaldi, didn't he? Yeah, correct.
It's easy to sort of dismiss players, think, well, they're out of the competition, and you forget. Hang on a minute, rumbling around in the background, and they suddenly reappear in the deep end of the tournament. And Jon McAllister, of course, is one of those, along with Christophe Lambert. I mean, but you've got to remember, both of them are pro event winners, tour winners.
Yeah, super players. We mentioned in Jon's game on Friday with Clayton, he's had a natural bit of time off the table. He recently became a new dad.
Yeah, with partner Danielle Randall. Many congratulations to them as well.
Yeah, baby Theo was watching on Friday, we saw, and that was lovely. Gave him a little shout. I think they're watching this morning as well, cheering on Dad. And he's going to make a good start in this match here against Christophe Lambert if he can nail this 8-ball, which he does. That is a very, very good finish. And the reason why that's particularly impressive is that wasn't an easy starter for Jon McAllister. That required good position pretty much all the way through. And he made that look simple. A lesser player would have made that look pretty difficult. And that in your first frame will be a great settler to get into this quarter-final. If you're just joining us this morning, or indeed if you're joining us on Facebook, a very good morning to you, but you've missed Tom Cousins qualifying through into the semi-finals. He got a win over Rob Warren, 12-6 in the end for Top Cat. We've got Jon McAllister versus Christophe Lambert here, and we'll also see later on this afternoon the two remaining quarter-finals. Phil Harrison takes on Jimmy Croxton, and Tom Jones against Declan Brennan round out the last 8 in the Pro Cup. This is the final ranking event of the season. And Christophe Lambert looking to get his hands on that wonderful trophy behind him.
They were really on fire last night, Tom Jones and Declan Brennan. That will be a massive match to watch.
Complete miss hit at the break from Christophe, and he's not going to be rewarded with a ball. Very rare that you see him ride those centre pockets. He'll be really disappointed with this.
When I walked in here, he was on one of the outer tables practicing the 6 red shootout. So I thought, has he had a premonition? We know how good he is.
Really interesting. That's a good bit of investigative journalism from you, Tony.
Yeah, well, Jon McAllister was on another table, and he was just practicing a few patterns and a couple of balls down the rail, and just
getting his arm going.
General warm up. And next to him was Christophe Lambert. In fact, it was a 6 yellow shootout, I might add. So, but yeah, he was running around the table and practicing that, which I stood there with Greg Batten. He's here still for the evening because he's got to go to Sheffield tomorrow, so he hasn't gone home back to the southwest. No real point for him. So we were both sort of stood there watching. I said, does he know something that we don't?
Yeah, I mean, we did think actually during Jon's game on Friday against Clayton Castaldi, the former world champion, that the 6 red shootout may come into play. It went right down to the wire, and Yeah, it's an interesting one. We haven't seen one so far in this tournament. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we have. Obviously
No, you're correct.
Yeah, I wasn't here yesterday. We definitely know of on Friday. Didn't think I saw one yesterday. And yeah, but it is very much in play, because to get a full 23 frames played in 70 minutes is pretty tough.
Well, we had one. We've been 11 all, and
Yeah,
with
yeah.
about 8 minutes left on it. Wasn't that Craig Waddingham and
Rob Warren, yeah.
Rob Warren? Yeah, so there was no way they were going to take that long to finish. I think the last frame, I think they had like 6 minutes or something like that left to play one frame of pool, so we knew we were going to get over the line.
Oh, John's run into a little bit of bother here. He's not where he wanted to be.
That's
And
a
that
super
is
shot.
such a clever shot. Wow. I think he's, again, been a little bit unlucky, because I think he's only got a plant to go, and I don't think this yellow squeezes by, but this is so clever. Really, really good shot, that, from Jon McAllister. And if he can find a way to secure this plant, this will be a couple of unbelievable shots back to back. Oh, how good is that? Oof.
It's naughty.
How good is that from Jon McAllister?
Now he's got a very thin cut with the yellow. Now we want to generate a load of left-hand side on this. If he could cut this in and get a load of left-hand side on and kick into the red just beneath the black. Oh,
Just wobbles in, but he's in trouble again.
Yeah, he just caught it a little bit thin there. A little bit unlucky there for John. Up and down the table. Well, he must be able to get to this yellow.
It's very thin, though, this. No, so much so he's just going to try and cover up the pocket and try and come again in this frame. Couldn't quite engineer a finish from where he was, he felt. And he's going to ask Christophe the question. Reds, sort of, they're not easy, and obviously there's a lot of protection sort of bottom right here, because the 8 ball doesn't go bottom right, the red doesn't go bottom right. So there's work to do here for Christophe, and John's decided that was probably the best passage to him winning this frame. I think Christophe, in spite of all that, will still be pleased to be getting a shot here. I think he's okay. He's not left the pot. He's decided to open his reds up a little and turn the table back over to John.
I think he tried to pot that red. I don't think there's any value in leaving John here, because you can get straight through and see one of the yellows. He could lay a really nasty snooker if he gets this right.
Yeah, and he has.
Yeah, that was a mistake from Christophe. There's no way in the world he would leave him that gap. So he just caught that red a bit thin, and that's why it's hung over that middle bag.
He is.
So Christophe is the engineer of his own sort of downfall in this frame. Going to try going twice across to get the red over the bag. Missed it. Ball in hand. Well, well, well.
Yeah, and John's decision is really going to pay out for him here.
Well, Jon McAllister will be delighted to have ball in hand here. Pretty much being gifted the second frame. After he sort of fell over on his finish. But Christophe will be very, very annoyed with himself.
Yeah, he's been gifted the finish, but my goodness me, he's had to work hard in this frame to win it as well.
Oh, yeah.
Played a couple of fabulous shots in his initial visit. It's 8 ball for 2-0. And in it flies. Excellent stuff from Jon McAllister. He's made a perfect start to this match with Christophe Lambert. Frustration for the Frenchman early on.
That's his annoyed face. There we are. I've seen that many over the years.
Yeah, long old way to go. Races to 12 in case you're not familiar with the Pro Cup so far this year, 2 brilliant days of competition. And if you're just joining us for the first time in this tournament, you've chosen a good day. We've got 4 quarterfinals, 2 semis, and the final to come on a Super Sunday to round out the pro season. McAllister's piston-like brake returns, and when it is on, it is so good. Cue ball is perfect.
Yep, lovely control there by McAllister. Makes a few balls and just look at the layout of the reds. No prizes for guessing which colour he will choose. Everything goes. And this, barring some sort of major unexpected catastrophe, is going to be 3 straight frames for Jon McAllister. Has Jon McAllister been the slow burner, waiting for the right time to start shifting through the gears in this tournament?
Maybe, but
maybe he deliberately lost because he wanted to play a shorter race through the whole of Saturday and just sort of trundle along, and then I'll turn up then on Sunday and start playing first to 12s again. Could be a plan.
Not a chance, because he has had to come through a bit of a gauntlet. So he lost first round to Clayton Castole. He lost a deciding frame in the end, which finished 8-7 in that race to 12. Talk about the 6-red shootout. It was in play in that match, but Clayton got over the line. And then loser's side he went, and, you know, not easy from there.
No.
And he won 8-3 against Ryan Lambert, 8-6 against Lewis Roberts, 8-5 against Connor Tracy, 8-4 against Dave McNamara. Got himself into the last 16, 12-4 against Neil Raybone, and here he is in the quarter-final. This 8-ball, 3-0 to start things off, and it has been pristine so far from Jon. Christophe Lambert came through a grueler with the world champion Ronan McCarthy. Went to a deciding frame out on the outside table. In fact, I don't know how this went down, but I know it was on an outside table. I know that match will have started probably around 9 PM. I know it's finished 11-12, so I can only judge from knowing it was Christophe and Ronan on that match. That match finished at about 4 AM.
I think it might start earlier than 9. You know, I'm not 100% sure, but myself and Simon, when we were obviously on comms here during the, I think it was Tom Jones was playing, and then we had the Declan Brennan match after it. Well, that was going on in the background, and it was the only other match going on. And Christophe had, I think, something like a 6-1 lead against Ronan, and it sort of, Christophe got to like 8, and I think it was like 8-3, and then you just saw the frames coming back every sort of 15 or 20 minutes. Ronan get another one, and I said to Simon, I said that was going to go 11-all, you watch, and it did. And it was Christophe that did get over the line in the end, but when it was 11-all, we kept looking at the scorecard and waiting for it to change to red, and it was never coming. And we watched it, and we thought we were going to get through an entire match. Well, there's like 3 frames left of that on the outer arena, but
yeah, I can believe it. Those two are old war horses in that sense. They would have been happy to take their time.
Ronan's not going to give you an inch. He's going to make you work for every ball.
And Christophe's sort of cut from that cloth as well, if he's allowed to. And I really love Christophe's game. I think he's got the whole package, and one thing that you can get from him when he's sort of allowed to sort of reverse into some of his old ways, if you like. He was notoriously a very, very slow player.
Oh, he was.
And when he's on the outside table, he's under no jurisdiction, really. He can play to whatever pace he likes, same as Ronan. I think those two will have found a pretty happy relationship in that match, in the sense of it would have just taken their time on everything, and they've both been pretty happy to see that.
Yeah, when he first came across the water and turned professional, I was in the pro association with him, and he's one of them. And obviously, for my style of playing, how the rules were at the time.
I bet you hated playing him.
Do you know what? I never played him. And I kept saying, "Oh, don't let me play Christophe."
You were quite friendly with the with the draw makers, were you?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this finish here from Jon McAllister. He's done some great work to get to this stage, but he's still got more to do. I think the yellow furthest west in this visit, as we look at it from the main camera, is a nice connector for the 8-ball. So I think that'll be the ball he's left till last. He's had to work pretty hard again to get here.
Great shot.
That's showing you how well he's playing. Just has to play a good shot here. Wants to be straight enough, really, on this.
It's one of those shots, that yellow at the top, is like, you think, oh, just pinch it into the pocket. I'd rather hit this heavy, bring the cue ball into the side rail and back out. You know, play a full pull shot here rather than the sort of like little pinch shot. And I think Jon might do the same.
Yeah, you can see he's lovely and low on the cue ball. And does exactly that, the whole gate.
It's a full pull shot, and you know, watching the way Jon strikes the board, you know, it's kind of firm. He's a good firm hitter of the pull ball.
Yeah, well, he's got all the tools. He's a fabulous cueist. He can play the little dainty ones if he needs to. Yeah, that was nice and dainty, lovely. And look how well he's cued that in. This has been another fabulous finish from Jon McAllister.
Yeah, lovely cueing.
And he's going to start off this match 4 frames in front. From Challenger Series player to Challenger Series winner to Pro Tournament quarter-finalist. If that feels like it could be you, then the Challenger Series is where you need to be, and get in touch with the lovely Zach Leonard to secure your spot for 2025. It'll be part of the biggest series events that Ultimate Pool have ever put on. I'm privy to a couple of the conversations going on around the plans for the arenas next season, for the broadcasts, and it looks amazing. It's just going to blow people's mind, I think, and yeah, if you want to be a part of it, now's a pretty good time to sign up. Jon McAllister then back in action, 4-0 in front. If you're just joining us, that right there is the first thing Jon McAllister's done wrong in this match. He's been perfect, and that I just did not see that coming.
No.
Christophe has had 1 visit to the table, and he played a loose shot. Jon punished him, and other than that, Christophe has not had a sniff in this match. And Jon McAllister almost feels like he's let him back in a little bit.
Well, yeah, you look at the layout of those yellows. That's 5-0. It's certainly 4-1. There's no way Christophe's going to miss these. But then there will be a little, let's say, a tiny bit of edge to these balls, because, you know, this is Christophe's first opportunity of this quarter-final, and he knows he has to make them. And not only that, he needs to get into gear and turn up now for this match. Well, it's not as if he hasn't turned up, but McAllister's been so good, and that's, like you say, Gemma, how on earth did he miss that yellow?
Just did not see that coming.
Had a little look at his tip afterwards as well. Maybe he didn't hit it flush. Shake of the head there from Christophe. He's come back a bit far. This has to be dropped in dead weight. Sort of flick it with right hand side. You've got to try and kill that cue ball so you can get on that yellow that's next to the black. So he's putting a bit of the right hand side on. He's made it.
Oh, that's lovely and delicate, isn't it?
He didn't like that at all, because he thought he was going to overrun, but played it very well there, did Christophe. And the Frenchman is going to get his first frame on the board. But Jon McAllister will be a little bit annoyed.
I think he'll be very annoyed, because ultimately that was a fabulous chance to go 5-0 in front, and even in races to 12, it talks about it all weekend long races, opportunities for comebacks, all this sort of stuff. 5-0 still a great start. And it makes Christophe then have to work very hard in the rest of the match to try and catch that back up.
I think he's got to work hard now.
Yeah, he's already got to do that, but yeah.
I mean, you know, Jon McAllister's not going to probably do that again now for probably another few months. This is such an important break for Christophe Lambert. We'll see the meticulous get his cue to judge the distance. What he uses, where is the join is in his cue. He hasn't this time. He normally puts it on the side of the table to get the exact same spot that he likes to break from. The little dip of the legs, and here it comes.
Well, that's a bit more like it.
Cue ball's headed for the corner, so we've got blacked. Or blocked, should I say blacked as it? I was looking at that black going through and I was saying blocked, but that will come back up. No golden breaks.
Yeah, a golden break in one sense for Christophe Lambert, and yet he's made a ball off the break, but he doesn't get to play the next shot.
He doesn't.
It's a rare instance, and I say it every single time. I'll say it again. My least favourite rule in international rules. Jon McAllister's going to get first shot in this frame. I think Christophe can count himself pretty unlucky there.
Yeah, you think that Christophe should be at the table now because he's made a ball off the break?
Yeah, 100%, and I understand the reason why, but I don't like it. So there. Well, if Jon meant to play the carom there by making the red ball as well, he's played a magician's shot, but I think it's more of a happy accident in the end. It's still a lovely shot.
Yeah, well, it does help him as well. And the one sort of half tricky yellow that's just beneath the black there, the handy bit there for Jon is that yellow that went down the table has just landed near it, so it can be used as the ball to get on the awkward ball. So if he can get to the bottom left hand side of that table where he can roll that yellow into the bottom right, easy position onto the other yellow that's in between red and black. Wants to be right behind it, he can play it into the middle. As you can see, the cue ball then would be stopped where that yellow is and have a straight black into the left hand centre. It's all very easy, isn't it? Done. That's that frame. Let's rack up the next one now.
If only it were that easy.
Yeah, it just takes one loose positional shot and that's the end of that.
Yeah, it's the one thing actually that has jumped out at me in this match so far is the finishes Jon's taken out. They've not been simple finishes. They've required really, really good play, and the one mistake he's made was a pretty poor missed pot.
He's playing to go down to the right hand side of the table. I'm a bit surprised. I thought he might play the other yellow. Screw the cue ball between the reds. Come down to have the cue ball on the left hand side where you can just roll that in the corner, roll that in the middle, black in the centre. Where he's now going to come back. This is tricky because he's got to land in the gap here between the red and the yellow. The other side, he didn't have to. He's got an acre to land in.
Well, I wonder if the top yellow passes the other one, so he's got a little bit more margin.
But again, it's still, you know, it's still a smaller space to land in.
Yeah, I see your point, but I mean, Jon is a pinpoint shooter in that sense. He backs himself to land. Yeah, these can go bang bang. So I think in that sense, he feels that it was probably a bigger margin for error.
Brilliant shot, don't get me wrong. It's just the way I'm looking at it, I think, well, there's a massive whole half of a table I can land in there and I'm on the ball. That way, you know, if he'd have been, you know, thankfully for Jon, he wasn't, and he was so accurate with it. But I just think it was a heck of a lot harder, but wow.
Well, he's a heck of a player.
He is a heck of a player, so I'll take my hat off to him and say he knows better.
Well,
but I'll argue the point still.
Yeah, and you know, I think there's something in that point. I don't think you're wrong by any stretch of the imagination. I think certainly for a lot of players that would be the way to go. I think with someone who prides himself on his cue ball as much as Jon does, I think he can sort of look at those little variations and go his own way almost in that sense. An excellent start.
Go his own way and just want Fleetwood Mac playing in the background as you play. Well, McAllister to break off, leading 5 frames to 1.
break is just reliable, isn't it? You can see the tap of the knee from Christophe in the top left corner of your picture. Just watch this break from Jon. Just watch the cue ball. Only ball you have to watch. It's just repeatable. Pumps it into that back rail every single time.
I think Christophe's put some earbuds in. He's listening to music now.
Maybe he's listening to Fleetwood Mac.
Might be. He's thinking, well, I've been sat here that long. might as well do something while I'm watching Jon play pool. Yellows are all there.
Yeah, Christophe said, what, 2 visits to the table? And he made a mistake in one.
Well, I'm surprised. Let's say it again. I think yellows are all available. The black goes past the red into the corner.
Interesting. So he's got a nice angle on this red to bottom left to come and deal with his work.
Two reds on rails and 2 reds that are stuck together there.
It does. I'm completely with you. It feels almost like showing off, really. It feels like he's taken the harder colour set.
It has taken the hot for me. Again, he's going to prove me wrong by knocking these in with a plum.
Yeah, red close to the 8 ball's obviously one he really wants to land on well, and he can. That's precise. But yeah, the 2 next to it.
Maybe the black doesn't pass the red into that corner, and that's the reason he's taking them.
Possibly. I mean, that would certainly make a lot of sense if so.
You know, when I'm looking at it from this angle, I think it goes. But if it doesn't go, then I will put myself in reverse. But we're going to find out as we look down this rail. Ooh, I think it goes, you know.
I mean, still a pretty high tariff clearance, whichever way you looked at it, really. But this is excellent stuff again from Jon.
Yeah, he certainly turned up this morning with his eyes on the prize. The way he's performing.
So sharp, yeah, for a Sunday morning. I mean, we saw Tom Cousins and Rob Warren in match 1, and there was definitely an element there of it feeling a little bit. Oh, he wanted that to stay. He really wanted that to stay on the table.
I was going to say, I didn't know Tom and Rob were cousins.
I was going to say, there's a few mistakes in that match which you can sort of attribute to, you know, early morning Sundays, and well, Jon's been very, very unlucky there. He has been very unlucky. He's on nothing. Or is he? Can he get the double here? Is he okay? No, he's having to play the kick. I thought for a second the way he was queuing that up, he had enough to see the back side of the red to play the back double, but no, he's just...
That overhead can catch you out.
Yeah, it can,
it
yeah.
really can.
I got a little bit excited there, but I mean, Jon can't believe he's made both balls there. That's killed him in this finish.
Well, a very grateful Christophe Lambert now. He can pot this yellow, kick the black off that cushion. And that will open up the frame for him. Just left the cue ball on the cushion. Should be okay. Just looking at his angle, and he's okay. Wants to force this into the middle a little bit. Get that cue ball moving back around the table. Not towards that middle bag though, is it? Ooh. Flirting with a bit of danger there, but that's okay for Christophe. Gonna have to play the yellow near the bag now. Top left. Bring the cue ball back across the table. And then you should see the 2 yellows parked in both middles, along with the black. Wow, what a miss. Well, he moved all over that shot. He really did. Yeah, he pulled his bridge hand as he struck it. Didn't like it at all. A little bit edgy from Christophe Lambert. He's now thinking, well, it's not Christophe we all know and love. And if Jon McAllister, I think he want to come back further. I don't think he can make this double. You've got to basically swerve the cue ball into this to try and, with right hand side and bend it in to try and make that double, because I think it double kisses. I really do.
Yeah, he's short here. This will be a very good shot if he can make it.
Yeah, I think the cue ball gets in the way, or it certainly goes wide. think you might have to play safe. Put the cue ball down the bottom rail.
Oh, he tried to
He
cut
went for the
it.
cut. That was extremely thin.
Well, do you know what? The way that he's missed it, I feel it was a little bit more available than I maybe gave it credit for. Because it's not like he's.
Do you think he played or did he play the cut? Do you think he came back too far? I think he played for the double.
I think
Double's
he played for the
easier,
double,
surely.
yeah. Christophe's been handed a lifeline, and my
Well-
goodness me, did he need it?
Yeah, he's at that point, is Christophe, already in this match where you can see him unravel. Because if he doesn't get this finished now, and this will be 2 goes at this, and he looks a little bit edgy. And why wouldn't you be? You see your opponent playing so well. Things are just not going your way. Had a little, as he struck that, he came up a little bit again there. It's like almost like he's quite anxious of each pot.
Yeah, just hasn't quite settled yet, has he, Christophe?
No, he hasn't. Not at all.
If you
Well,
watch,
you haven't got time to settle if your opponent's gone straight out to a 4-0 lead.
yeah, very, very true. He's been put bang under pressure, and if you're watching Christophe, maybe for the first time, don't be too alarmed by his sort of mannerisms on the shot. That's just something that he's always done. Really, it doesn't, cause him any issues in terms of being able to pop balls.
Oh, the adrenaline pump.
Yeah, he's always had that.
he has.
The tremor on the shot, but yeah, just a couple of early errors in this match. He just needs to settle and just get himself into the swing of things here, because Jon McAllister needed 0 time to settle. He's come out all guns blazing in this quarter-final. Christophe hasn't, but he's been handed a lifeline there in that frame from Jon.
Yeah, Christophe's just not sat there thinking happy thoughts at the moment.
Christophe needs his break to work.
He does.
That's the biggest thing that will turn this match a little bit more in his favour, because the 2 finishes that Christophe's actually been able to make have come off Jon mistakes when Jon's been at the table. Jon's had first visit chances just almost constantly. Christophe has been feeding off scraps here. He's moved the cue ball again on his break, just trying to find the spot. Oh, there it is. Yeah, deserved a couple of balls there. That is perfect. Christophe's break reminds me in many ways of the break that Gareth Potts sort of made cool with Ultimate Pool. Just that maximum power. But it is one of those that if you're ever so slightly off on it, it can go awry pretty easily. And he's not quite found it yet, but that was perfect. And everything's there, the pre-shot routine, all the mannerisms, it's repeatable, so he can build from there. It feels like a good start.
Yeah, I always broke from the middle and then front ball with as much power as I could possibly generate. Cue ball was completely out of control. I have to be honest, it really was. Didn't care. I'd bring it back away from the middles, but then after that, it's in the lap of the gods. It could be in the crowd, it could be in a corner pocket, it could land back in my pocket. It would have stood there in my waistcoat at the time. Played it. If Christophe was to get this finished, this would probably settle his early match sort of edginess. Just a bit anxious at the moment, is Christophe.
Do you think I don't think you could have got away with that break nowadays in these conditions with this equipment. Back when you were playing in sort of days of yore and you were sort of playing on fuzzy felt with pockets the size of thimbles, probably quite hard to make the cue ball off the break.
8-foot table as well.
You're probably quite hard to make the cue ball off the break.
Oh, I know.
So probably some value in
The thing is that
smacking the living daylights out of
the
it.
cue ball was lighter as well. The balls were lighter slightly. So, before we changed over to this set now with the dots on the cue ball. So the thing was, it was very easy to lift the white off the table. So, when we see the breaks now where the cue ball bounces just before the pack or it bounces up in the air.
Yeah.
You get a few of them back then. And I mean, I've had them outside the hotel in the grounds rolling about.
One of those where you shout 4 before you break.
Absolutely, yeah. I just play golf with pool balls.
Christophe's made a lovely shot up to the top of the
He
table
just looked
there.
as he hit it into the pocket. He sort of he looked as though, is that in? You know, the sort of reaction. That's good. Wants to slow down a bit though. But that's okay. He's still going.
Yeah, it just carried on rolling that, didn't it?
Can he drift the cue ball just near side of black and yellow and come out the other, just over the other side and have the black in the corner? It's one of those, isn't it? You certainly don't want to hit it thick and clip the black on the way down.
Yeah, he just did a bit of a shot of adrenaline there in that shot. He's landed a good couple of feet further up the table than he needed to. Couldn't avoid the 8 ball, tried to control it. Trouble.
A double to get out of trouble.
Will it be double trouble?
I'm searching now to find something that rhymes with that, but there isn't anything. So
Bubble.
Bubble.
Rubble.
Barney. A Barney rebel. Here we are.
Oh, off the knuckle. Is he going to fluke it?
No, he's not.
No. Going to stay up, and Jon McAllister is going to have a great chance here to return to that 4-frame cushion.
Nice position once again from McAllister. Just that yellow on that left-hand side rail. Just getting to and fro from that ball to his next ball. Christophe will be sat there hoping and praying that McAllister makes a mistake. He's got great position. Now he wants to screw back, and you just see where he's pointing. He wants to come back just the other side of this left-hand middle. Leave himself a straight roll in with the yellow in the corner, and then the other yellow will go in the centre. And that's exactly where Jon McAllister wanted to be. So he just checks to see how far he wants to run his cue ball through. Probably about 3 or 4 balls length. His cueing, you have to say, is exquisite. And in goes the last yellow, and this is going to be 6-2 for Jon McAllister.
What a start for him.
Christophe is punished again. Well, it's no good Christophe just getting 1 frame here and there. He's got to put a run together at some point. Yeah, the head is still shaking. He knows that was another chance that he's let slip away as he discards his cue cloth down on his table in utter disgust. And the head is still shaking. Got to put it behind him. One thing we can say about Christophe, he's a very determined individual. So he will fight to the bitter end, but he's annoyed with himself because he's obviously been in early this morning practicing, got himself ready, and then it's just all gone wrong at the start. It's very, very hard to peg back somebody like McAllister as well, because he's not prone to making very many mistakes. Jon McAllister is one of those players you've got to beat. Jon McAllister, he's not going to let you beat him.
Yeah.
I know it sounds a silly thing to say, but it's, you've got to go out and play better than Jon McAllister. There are players there that can, they can go to their highest highs, but they can also drop their guard down and have a really bad day at the office where things just don't go for him. But Jon McAllister's made of sterner stuff than that. He's like a great big iron gate that you've got to knock down. And at the moment, Christophe's trying to do it with a feather. Well, he tried to move that yellow and he successfully did so. Probably thought he might hit it a little bit thicker, but he's okay because he's on the one. He's on the red in the middle. So he might just have to take that next, get rid of the two reds at the bottom, and then he's going to have to guide a cue ball at the top. Or can he get this one? Well, he can. He can get through. I didn't think he could see enough, but he certainly could. And now yellow into the bottom left, and these two reds in the Jon McAllister juggernaut continues to rumble forwards.
Yeah, it's ominous, isn't it? It's an ominous sort of performance, this, from Jon McAllister.
It's black for 7-2. And in it goes. Back goes Jon McAllister to his seat with another frame on his side of the scoreboard. Jon always very calm. Even when trailing in matches, you don't see much of the expression. He doesn't ever look worried or just...
Well, even when he's winning, he doesn't look particularly pleased. He's got one of those faces, Jon. But
well, same as Tom. Tom Cousins is another one. They don't give anything away. It's, you know, he's out there. This is all business. He's out there. He's got a job to do. And at the moment, he's doing it very, very well indeed. Christophe now. The warning lights are on at the moment. The alarm bells are ringing.
Yeah, 7-2 is a big lead. We saw this lead in the previous quarter-final. Tom Cousins won 7 straight after going 2-0 down to Rob Warren. And how do you like those apples?
Not much if you're Christophe Lambert.
I mean, he's tough to go in off from here, really, isn't he?
Yeah, it's like the makes the yellow, makes the cube, the stare. It's
one of those that we were talking about it in the first game. You get the teapot from Rob Warren when that sort of thing happens, and he sort of looks a bit cross and a bit frustrated. But Christophe there, actually, he just sort of went a little bit limp and just looked really sad. I just felt for him.
And it's just his body language sat in the chair there as well. He's just resigned to the fact that this frame's gone as well.
But yeah, especially with how well Jon's playing, that's the concern. Christophe hasn't had enough chances to be anywhere close to the lead in this match, but 5 frames behind. I think he's made 2 mistakes in open table, which have given Jon frames. The rest of the time, he's had to rely on his frames coming off Jon mistakes. So mistakes-wise, they're level. They've both made a couple. But Christophe cannot get his break going. Jon has. And when Jon's been in open table, he has been fabulous. The difference in this match hasn't been enormous, because we've just not seen enough of Christophe. but Jon has just been relentless. I know when he first came over to Ultimate Pool, he had the nickname of the Machine, which sort of, I think Mick Hill at the time sort of threw in some copyright infringement. But yeah, this has been a machine-like performance from Jon McAllister. 8-2, 6-frame cushion.
I think the juggernaut. There you go, Jon the Juggernaut. Juggernaut Jon McAllister. There you go. There's this. Because he just keeps coming.
He's playing it.
There's no let up. It's relentless. And here comes the McAllister break. Oh, sailing close to the corner bag, and there's the difference. Jon McAllister sails close to the corner bag, and the ball comes and stops it going in and goes in itself. Also makes another couple of balls as well, I think. Yep, 2 yellows and a red. Now what's he been left with? Is he looking at the plant? And there's Declan Brennan, an interested spectator. We're going to see him later. We're taking on Tom Jones. What promises to be an incredibly good match.
Oh, now then. Third mistake of the match from Jon McAllister, which, if you're not including breaking errors, I think Jon's now made more mistakes than Christophe in the match. I think it's 3-2. I think. Which feels crazy to say when you look at that scoreboard. You've got furrowed brow, Tony, but I think that's right.
I'm trying to think that you might well be right. I don't like the fact that you could be right. It's slightly annoying. Much prefer when you're wrong. But
Yeah, a few people do. I can understand it.
because it's just the smug look on your face. No. Actually, it's not a smug look at all, is it?
No, it's one of innocence and
It
wonder.
is, absolutely.
Oh, it's a great shot. Oh, he's been a bit unlucky. It's almost a, sort of that classic cliche. He's almost hit it too well.
Yeah.
You'd have loved to have just bumped it off the rail and he got completely full ball, tracked it up the cushion. This is a toughie at 8-2 down.
You like it actually touching around more than just off it like this. Oh, great shot.
Oh,
Cue ball.
No way.
How many mistakes? 3 all.
That's brutal.
This is going to be, yep. Frustration. He just got down and hit it.
That's so brutal. Oh, you just feel for him. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's now evil. It's not.
That's so unlucky.
You do feel sorry for him.
It's
such a good pot up there. You know, he's put everything into that pot.
He's played 2 brilliant shots there, back to
has.
back, and got absolutely nothing for them. That's so tough. Well, Jon the Juggernaut is not going to hold back here because
No.
I mean you know it from when you used to play, Tony. If anyone gave you that sort of reaction in the opposite corner, that was the time for you to put the hammer down and really make them pay, because you know they're in a world of pain. And the best players in the world, and Jon McAllister, make no mistake, is absolutely one of the best players in the world. His job now is to keep the foot on the throat. Oh,
Wow.
He didn't need to do that. He really didn't need to do that.
But he felt he could because he wasn't going to miss the pot. Now then. Is he doubling this back in the middle? I think he is. Missed it. Well, we're seeing some roller coaster pull in this frame.
Jon's got away with one there. You're absolutely right. He played that last shot because he felt like he couldn't miss that yellow. But as soon as you're raising the butt of the cue so high off the rail, every shot becomes missable.
Well, the cue ball can jump a little bit. It's just skip off the cloth. So
yeah,
if you don't get a pure strike on the object ball, then yes, of course it can happen.
Couple of shots to play here, back to back.
He wanted to be nearly straight on that because he wanted the yellow that's the higher up the table as his last ball.
Yeah, it's a more natural ball for the 8 ball, but that being said, plays this in. He should get out from here. It's 3 clean pots that he'll expect to make, but he just put himself under a little bit of pressure. Promise.
Now I think Jon will just settle for the pot here. Don't try and screw back and play it in the middle. Just pot this down the rail, bring the cue ball off the cushion and just leave himself the long black into the top left.
You don't need to do anything too mad here.
No. And then he screws up.
Just showed how confident he is.
Well, it's when he walked around and looked as well. I thought, well, he's just looking at his line that he wants to be on the black, but this is fine. Down it goes, and it's Christophe once again who's going to be the unhappy man out the 2 there.
Oh, it's a brutal game. Pool sometimes. It really is a brutal, brutal game. Good look how good a shot this is. I mean, that is perfect. And you can't legislate for sticking on that yellow like that. You just can't. I know there'll be some out there who's saying, well, he should know he's tracking towards the line of the yellow and all that, but
yeah, but
it's so tough to
you're
land
8-2
exactly
down
there.
and you need this frame desperately, you know. And we've been saying it now for sort of like 4 or 5 frames, you know, Christophe needs this frame or he needs that frame, and you know, he knows, and he's just out of sorts now. It's just his brain's fried.
Good time for his break to show up then. You're right, and it's one of those where he's probably in the headspace now that he's quite annoyed that his break has shown up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, you think, well, let's get all of my bad luck and everything out the way in this one match, and I don't want any of it the next season or something like that. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen like that. Doesn't like it. A little shake of the head there from Christophe. Calls his extension to try and figure it out. Now he's going to play a plant and try and screw the cue ball into that red. Just nudge it past the yellow so it makes it available. Didn't get the contact on the red. He did try to do that. He's down very quickly as well. I think he's... Oh, that's a great shot.
Yeah, wasn't it just?
I mean, he's still got time, but you know, we've got 20, just shy of 27 minutes left. So it's not that he has to run, but he seems to be playing quicker. That's not ideal.
Yeah, but he's on it, and that's the thing. Maybe that's a little sign that his luck's just starting to turn.
I think he's fuming.
Oh
no, but I think he's playing like he's fuming. He's just that's it. I did.
Absolutely. I mean, he's playing angry pool out here. Right?
Yes.
Let's make no mistake. But he's just had a couple of touches of run in this frame that he hasn't before. Knocks that in. 9-3, 6 behind again. Christophe Lambert is still livid.
I think if he gets the next frame, then he calms down a little bit and thinks, right, actually, I need to just, you know, try and get a foothold in this and get to within 3 of Jon, and then I can maybe start to battle back. But it's going to be very hard.
It's going to be so difficult. I mean,
you know, McAllister's going to make balls off the breaks. You know, probably now.
It would be a really crazy comeback. This one of the greatest we've ever seen. That's the sort of level that Christophe needs to find. But if he is to do that, the longer you can keep Jon on 9 is important. Keep him away from double figures. But you're asking a lot, because you're not only asking Jon to maybe make mistakes, you're also asking his break to slow down, and his break has been relentless. When you see him break like that, you think, oh yeah, it's obviously why this guy's won a world title.
Yep.
And that's not to say that Jon is a break merchant and that's all he's got in his arsenal, because of course it isn't. But when you can break that well and that consistently as he has in this match, you just give yourself so many chances.
His break's right up there in the top.
Yeah.
In the top handful.
I think so. And
because I've commentated on Jon now quite a few times, and I've always been impressed with his break. It's always been good.
Yeah, it's fabulous. And you know, it just guarantees you more chances. And the discrepancy in chances is what's got Jon his lead in this match. Maybe not a full 6 frames, there's maybe a couple of frames variance in that. But by and large, Jon has had many more chances in this match than Christophe has.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
And that's why he got up into a little bit of a lead.
It's almost like the start of the match, when McAllister went 4-0, 5-1, it sort of took all the fight, well, not so much to fight the heart out of Christophe. Ooh.
Well. Well, well, well.
Tried to force it in the middle. Christophe very quick out of his chair. Run that a bit too heavy. Oh, Christophe. I think he might just be okay. This red goes into the bottom corner, but he didn't want to be having to play that then, as that red wriggles into that corner. He's going to have to put this in at some pace. And that was always the danger of that shot. He really had to force an angle and force it into the corner. He sort of, because he played with a slight bit of right hand side there, threw that red ball into the near jaw and rattled out. Well, Jon there trying to, I think he wanted to play that a little bit thicker off that yellow and trying to stick Christophe behind the other yellow on that top rail. Christophe now looking at the plant, has to be made, and there you see where he wants to hit the first red. And he's made the plant. Stuck to the yellow ball. Does it go? He looks a little bit desperate again. We'll have another look at the plant that he made. Played that very well, but it's where the cue ball has sat. Because he needs to be able to get to this red that's in the bottom row, and there you see it's not quite touching. He can obviously just get to this red, but it's just because of the angle he's having to go up the table. But he's made a pot, great pot by Christophe.
Needs a bit of run.
Will the red cut past the black?
I think so. It's tight. You check on the overhead and it looks like it, then you look at Christophe's body language and you think it doesn't.
Can he play the red off the other red?
Well, that's what he's playing. There's your answer.
Oh dear. That doesn't look very pleasant. Yes, it's starting to look more and more like Christophe might be going online to see if he can get an early check-in on his flight. But then again, Jon McAllister says, hang on a minute. You expected that cue ball to come out a lot further with the yellow as well. A little wry smile there from Jon.
Yeah, he's got a shot to play here.
He thought both balls will just come, you know, sort of track out past the bolt line, I think, especially the yellow.
Yeah, you'd still expect him to make this yellow, but he's got to land a cue ball as well. Not guarantee this shot.
Great shot.
Oh, it slid past the second one. I thought he had to cut that into the middle. In the end, he was okay. Could play it long, and it was all in his eye line, and that helps a lot.
Just a little bit of stuttering from Jon.
Yeah, agreed. But this is what we talk about all the time, these races to 12. It's so hard to play perfect.
Yeah.
For this length of time. You are going to make mistakes. The vast majority of matches you play in this format, I don't care how good you are, you're going to make mistakes. The question then, and it's why it's such a prestigious tournament, I think, to win, is how good is your B game? Where is your floor at? How badly can you play and still find a way to win? You can't ask players to play perfect in races to 12. It's too long a time. You're going to have ebbs and flows. Jon's top game has been brilliant. His B game has just about been enough to take him very close to beating Christophe Lambert and securing his place in a Pro Cup semi-final.
Christophe deep in thought. He'll be thinking back, and there's been plenty of opportunities that he's had that he's let slip away, and they're all sort of swimming around in his brain at once, probably, which is... Yeah, he's moving his cue ball now again. He doesn't know where to break. He's completely all at sea with his break. Never bothered me that much. I mean, obviously I wanted to get balls off the break, but I never, ever, ever deviated away from where I broke from. I could stand there and break all day and not get a ball, and I'd still stand at the same place and hit the balls at exactly the same. Sure, I'd complain if I didn't get any balls, but it wouldn't get me to the fact where I start moving around, because I think it's just one of those things. Christophe landing a little bit close to the red. Just feel like he's a man that's resigned to the fact that he's not going to catch McAllister. Can he get through? He looks like he can. That's a lovely pot.
Isn't it just? Christophe beating the cameraman to the punch there. 10-4. It's been a slightly closer game than the scoreline would suggest, but yeah, as I say, you have to feel a little bit for Christophe Lambert. He's had a bit of a sick run in this game.
That's like a finish in defiance of everything that is.
Yeah.
The way he went round it.
It's like he's the last soldier in an army, still swinging, but he's going to fall eventually. He's got the heart of a lion.
He has.
There's Christophe Lambert.
Yeah, one of the...
And not the bloke from Wizard of Oz.
Courage. King of the Forest and all of that. Well, the McAllister break doesn't look to be slowing up anytime soon. Makes a yellow ball. And does have one available as well into the left-hand centre. There's also red over the bag as well if you wanted to go reds. I think I'd prefer yellows. I think if he makes that yellow into left-hand centre, it gets a cue ball through enough and he could get onto the ball on the rail. I think the frame's dead.
Maybe go one away. Ooh, that's not the best shot he's ever played.
Well, no, I don't think it's that bad. If he can get to the one over the bag, because he's now elevated the black ball into a slightly better position.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, I thought for a second that he couldn't see that, but no, you're right. He's absolutely okay. Got a gap. Just appeared for a second that he was in a bit of bother.
Just going to dig down with this.
Played it well.
Yep. Well, yellow will go past that red into that right-hand centre, but he's looking at maybe potting this yellow into the top right-hand corner. He wants to leave himself the angle we can get over to that yellow that's on the rail. That's his just a little finicky shot here. He needs to leave that angle as well.
Yeah, and I love the way that he lined it up and checked before that, because he knew if you stopped the cue ball dead in its tracks, he knew he was having this line. So he's almost previewed this shot already. It's exactly where he wants to be. Perfect.
Yeah, very nicely done there by Jon. He's got a stretch across the table here and cue over the top of that red ball. Going to have a long black after this one, unless it squeaks past those two reds and into the middle. Not sure it does.
Yeah, lovely. So this for the hill, for the juggernaut, Jon McAllister.
In it goes, and McAllister one frame away from a place in tonight's semi-final. And a date with Tom Cousins. And he's been good value as Jon. Couple of little stutters in the middle, but this is when he was miles in front, and the start of this match he was absolutely amazing, relentless. Poor old Christophe has not had the best run of it, snookered himself on a couple of occasions. His break's not been anywhere near it nor where it normally is, and he's become a frustrated soul out there today. It's a man from France, just not his day. Well, he'd have wished that break had turned up about 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, this one won't take long. And onto the 15-second shot clock gate, we can make this one a 10 and he'd be fine.
Well, if he's going to make a genuine attempt to try and get these 7 frames back.
Come on now. Come on.
He's also going to need Jon McAllister to have a pretty poor run of breaking as well.
Yeah, it's great play from Christophe, just to keep himself
Should a couple of those finishes
in the
towards
game.
the end.
Yeah, you can't knock him. He's going to keep on plugging away when he gets the opportunities.
Yep.
But the first 2/3 of this match really were just characterised by just some bad run for him. He was just brutally unlucky. Don't get me wrong, Jon has played some brilliant stuff in this match. He's really played well. But for much of the first 2/3 of it, Christophe will feel that he didn't even have an opponent.
No.
Frame 17. Jon McAllister break. The 11 frames behind.
One from home for Jon McAllister. He'll be hoping to get it done here. It's just relentless. That
always
break.
in that top right-hand corner. It's just ball always in there. It's a phenomenal break.
He's such a threat to win this tournament. You watch him break, you watch him play, and you just think that trophy on that ledge behind him is in serious danger of being taken home.
Well, that first semi-final, which is now looking like Cousins versus McAllister, is going to be an absolute blockbuster. And if Cousins has been watching this, he knows he's going to be in for a right royal battle. Almost like Jon's making up for lost time because of missing the last pro weekend. As we said earlier, due to becoming a new father. Lovely control. Once again, he's on the red that's just left of the black. If he can run that in and get on the red at the top into the other middle. Okay, go the other way.
Yeah, I think
still achieves the same position.
Yeah, I think he was a little straight on the red to left centre, so he's just going to go up the other side. Just makes it a slightly awkwarder finish than he would have liked, but feels a little bit more margin for error at least on this one. It is tricky though, for sure, and in fact he's going to come back up again to be straighter on this one to left centre. Yeah, that's a better angle, and now he's got a little bit of room to play with.
Now, does he screw across or try and drop in the gap between yellow and black? I think he probably screws across. Playing it in the corner.
Yeah, lovely, perfect cue ball.
Extension calls.
Just wants to run this red in. This is match ball, you feel. Black's going to be easy should he get this red.
Never in doubt. It's been relentless, it's been meticulous. It's been excellent from Jon McAllister, and the juggernaut rumbles on into the semi-finals where he'll take on Tom Cousins. And goodness me, does that sound like a mouth-watering prospect right now. Two of the top players in the world, and Jon is right at the top of his game. He is flying. Christophe Lambert's season comes to an end. He's had a very good one, but he couldn't finish it off in style. Jon McAllister, though, very much still batting in the Pro Cup. We'll hear from him in just a moment.